Good evening, everyone. Friday, February 11th, 2022. Time for episode 22. Quite the coincidence. Episode 22, 11 February 2022. And we're going to start off at the top of page 172. High-spirited was a beautiful merchantman of over 130 feet in length and some 40 feet across, with 3 masts, each with 3 sails, and 3 lower decks. Her hull was deep and shaped like the body of a fish, with a long, even keel. Officers' chambers lay both fore and aft, and her carved figurehead was in the likeness of a laughing dolphin. Commissioned in safe haven, like the rest of the prince's fleet, elfin artisans built and designed her. Her well-trained crew worked hard to get as many refugees and soldiers aboard as possible. Deckel did his best to organize the frantic crowd before him. "Form a line, people," he directed. "Just you and your valuables, please. There won't be room for more." "Good people," Prince Ivan greeted the terrified crowd. "Calm yourselves and maintain order." Dusted with salt spray, he looked weathered, and though he must have been exhausted, he hid it well. "There is room enough for everyone if we are careful, but we must cooperate and remain calm. As the boatswain said, bring yourselves and only the valuables that you can carry, as our space is limited." "But what of my livestock?" one farmer asked. "I have 100 sheep. Do I leave them all?" The prince stood pondering for a moment. "You may load 4 each of your strongest rams and a like number of sheep, along with your family. 2 of the rams shall be offered as food for the voyage. The remaining 6 will allow you to rebuild your flock once you resettle." A well-dressed and bejeweled baron in the crowd was far from pleased. Standing challengingly, he complained, "And where shall that be, my lord? What lands will you offer us that could possibly compensate us for what we have lost? My holding includes 1,000 acres of fine olive and fruit trees. My household numbers more than 40, including family and bond servants." Prince Ivan stood his ground and replied, "We sail for Safe Haven, my home to the north. The summers are much as they are here, but the winters will be hard for you at first. In my kingdom, all people are free and slavery is illegal. There are no bond servants. In truth, I have no means to compensate you for your loss, but remain here, and only 2 fates will await you, enslavement or death. Return to Safe Haven with me, and I will offer you one great hope, as we have great expanses of unsettled lands, where your sheep may grow fat and multiply. Every refugee of Sissily shall be granted lands enough in Safe Haven to support their household. Your lives as settlers will not be easy, and in the Northlands no olive trees will ever grow." "What of Drakmar or Eitzel?" one fisherman asked. "Their lands are warm, and we have traded with them." Ivan was a compassionate leader, but his patience wore thin. "Drakmar is unreachable because the fleet of Jang Lo blocks the way. We shall seek refuge in Eitzel for supplies, but I do not speak for their king. If he allows it, some of you may disembark there." A riot of questions then assailed him, more than could be answered. He waited for a moment of calm, and then raised his hand to hush them before proclaiming, "There is no time left for negotiation. Farmers may bring 4 and 4 of their livestock aboard ships. However, if we need the space for people, then the animals become provisions in order to make room for them. Maintain good conduct. Respect and cooperate with your captains. Leave your differences on land, for we must sail with haste if we are to save ourselves. My word is final. We sail for Eitzel and home." Prince Ivan's fleet was small, comprised of 9 ships, including High-Spirited, the Silver Gull, the Fat Goose, Sea Sprite, Merchant's Luck, and the flagship Water Spirit. and the 3 captured dragon ships, whose own crews had affectionately named them Queen's Lament, General's Pride, and Ocean Ranger. Ivan bid high-spirited farewell. He then visited each vessel in turn in order to repeat his proclamation regarding the transport of livestock and the good conduct that he expected from every passenger. Returning to Water Spirit, his leadership now in the hands of his 9 capable captains, he went to work himself, assisting those in need as they came aboard, sharing their burdens, wrestling with an uncooperative bull, moving heavy cargo, and more. There are about 600 refugees and their wares to get aboard. Captain Swift Arrow, Prince Ivan declared, "Will there be room enough for us all?" "We may have to shed some cargo," Valon considered, "but we'll make room. If we run into rough seas, our fate will be uncertain." "Eitzel is over a week away," Ivan said worriedly, "but some of our passengers may choose to disembark there." "I have spoken to the other commanders," Valon reported. "Captain O'Brien has agreed to remain in port as long as he can for our Ranger scouts. These people won't want to wait in such danger. We have already outfitted his ship with volunteers, 100 men-at-arms, his own crew, and several brave Sicilians have agreed to remain here with him." "Erik is a courageous man," Prince Ivan affirmed. "I will speak with him before we set sail." "My crew is ready," Valon said with confidence. "The fleet should be loaded to capacity by mid-afternoon. I pray that Sir John can buy us the time that we need." "My eyes are drawn ever southward in search of them," Valon expressed, "but I have yet to see any signs of his rangers." "Then he has met the enemy. May Ilmatar watch over them. I will leave you to work and return within the hour." "Yes, my lord," Valon replied. "Elwyn," Valon said to his second mate, "see to it that the holds are loaded uniformly. We may hit rough seas." "Aye, Captain," he replied from beneath his narrow-brimmed sailor's cap. "I doubt that the ensign will be up to this challenge." Walking amidships, a group of sailors were trying to lower an unruly bull into the hold, the very same animal that the prince had helped to lead on board. Moving closer to the bovine, Elwyn avoided his thick curled horns and cautiously touched his brow, whispering something. The bull quieted. "Easy now, sailors, we still have a lot of work to do." "Thank you, sir," one of the crew taunted. "Not now, Piper," Elwyn bid, his silver eyes amused. "I will deal with you later." "Aye, aye, sir," he quipped with a crisp salute. When Elwyn descended the central stair to cargo hold, the chaotic jumble of supplies, livestock, and personnel took him aback. "Get those animals in the livestock hold," he commanded. "I'll have no pets mingling with our guests. If we encounter rough seas, then your prize bull may crush you to death." Samaj Ruel had already begun to do just that, and with Elrond's help, they began to gain control of the situation. "We're going to be running heavy," she reported to him. "The captain knows what the ship can do," he asserted. "Sir," Samaj addressed an old farmer, anxiously clutching the reins to his sheep, "follow me. We keep the animals amidships. They'll each have their own pen to keep them secure, and there are plenty of hatches to let the air in." "Thank you, miss," he replied. "These sheep are all that I have left." "We'll keep them safe, sir, and we'll find you a hammock in the forward quarters so that you can keep an eye on them." Samaj, Elrin, and the crew helped each refugee and animal in turn, and together they squeezed everyone aboard ship. Extra hammocks slung from the rafters, and soldiers, sailors, and pilgrims would all voyage together. When Prince Ivan returned, all the ships in the fleet were loaded and ready to sail. "O'Brien intends to hold out until the end," Ivan informed Valon. "He has many valiant furmen aboard." "I pray that he doesn't underestimate Jang Lo," Valon worried. "It is said that he is cunning, ruthless, and incapable of pity. I dare not think about what might happen if they are captured." I trust him, Prince Ivan declared. He will know what to do. I wait your orders, my prince. Signal the fleet, Ivan commanded. We sail for Itzel. Drummer, Valen ordered. Beat the tune for departure, and may your song be heard on the peaks of Bong Bulong. Thereafter, on the decks of every ship save for one, the drummer's tune was echoed from ship to ship, ringing out across the blue, glistening waters of Port Sina, and carried by the southerly wind all the way to the peaks of the volcano. Weigh anchors, he directed, and raise the foremast sails. Benjamin, take us out of the harbor. Aye, Captain, he replied while operating the wheel. Sailors were busy all about the main deck, working ropes and adjusting the rigging, as well as pushing away from the docks with long poles. Similar commands echoed aboard the departing ships, and Prince Ivan's fleet was soon under way. O'Brien and the crew of the Silver Gull stood somberly watching them, their own drums silent. Raise the colors, he commanded, and the Golden Lion was soon flying in the wind. The sight of it caused a great, bitter-sweet cheer to ring out. But now hope's flame rekindled. Many souls, whether they knew it or not, now owed their lives to Sir John and his Rangers. Sir John defends the mountain passes of Sicily from the forces of General Jang Lo. Sir John Anderson of Munson, knight of renown, stood watch upon the jagged slopes of Third Hill, so named because it was now the third mountain that they had defended in a days-long delaying action. Lying prone in a hidden crevasse, he was able to view the entire valley below him. Now 30 years of age, he had volunteered as one of the king's rangers 2 years before, and most of the younger soldiers within his company referred to him secretly as the old man. His face, however, showed no signs of aging, save for a few laugh lines around his angelic hazel eyes. His nose was prominent, but well formed, between strong cheekbones that flared to dimples when he smiled. Serious by nature, his sense of humor was nevertheless most genuine, and half of a smile revealed only his top row of teeth above pursed lips and a chuckle evident in his eyes. His smile was not governed by any lack of masticatory integrity, for his teeth were fine, strong, and complete. But it was merely the usual nature of his casual smile to reveal their top row only, in the full set, when driven to the extremes of mirth alone. His ears were oval and proportionate, his jaw muscular and more than adequate. A year of harrowing travel by land and sea, followed by a month of endless combat, had left him lean and constantly hungry. His chainmail was dirty and gathering rust, but that was unavoidable. His padded underclothes were tattered and worn through in places, as were his boots. He and his men wore no insignia, nor the Golden Lion symbol of Lord Cherrick, as both made exceptional targets. The fighting had subsided for a few hours, so he took watch while some of his rangers rested. Prince Ivan needed time to evacuate the remaining troops from the last port in their possession, the fishing village of Sina. They had performed admirably, but the last 2 days had first seen intense fighting on the beaches of Gala, followed by a hasty retreat and determined counterattacks by Jang Lo's forces. Sir John's men were exhausted, and only their determined wills and knowledge of the terrain had sustained them. Their ruthless enemies marched ever northward along the Sina road, led by a capable captain in red mail, riding atop of a Palomino stallion. They had challenged him in the narrow crossings with bold lance charges by his remaining knights, but their leader learned quickly, and the last push had left 3 horses dead and their riders captured. Adjusting their tactics, Sir John ordered them to fall back northward long into the night, until they reached First Hill. There he decided to divide his forces, sending the remaining knights of First and Second Companies, under the leadership of Sir Andrew, to prepare a defense at the pass of what they had come to call Second Hill. He and the remaining rangers would lie in wait here, and prepare an ambush attack, after which they would retreat along the Sina road unless attacked, in which case they would slip back into the mountains to escape. His plan had worked, causing the enemy to doubt the safety of the terrain and advance much more cautiously. After a rendezvous with Sir Andrew, they rode hard for Sina, but were met by an intercepting force and compelled to fight. They routed the Draconian Marines, but a few squads of fighters escaped. "Sir Andrew," Sir John observed, "we've done all that we can here. Take your companies and the wounded and ride for Sina. We'll try and buy you a few more hours." "Ride with us," Sir Andrew entreated. "The enemy is sure to regroup and counterattack." "I'm counting on it. You'll need more time to get the wounded out of here." "Very well, John," Sir Andrew replied. "Rangers lead the way." "All the way," he replied. The Red Captain. Admiral Gravina rode near the head of his army of 4,000 Draconian Marines, including several hundred elite cavalry and special troops. His red mail, silver helmet, and fine stallion combined to make him an awe-inspiring figure. Some of his scouts had returned with news of the enemy's movements, but many of them had not, and so far their skirmishes had proven to be one-sided in favor of the rebels. Another scout fast approached him upon a swift gray steed. Reining in his steed, he delivered his urgent report. "Admiral, the Firmen have divided their forces. One group, carrying their wounded, flees towards Sina, while a few others retreated into the hills." "No doubt that they will try and delay our advance," Gravina observed. "Take a fresh horse and try to locate the position of the remaining guerrillas. We will make camp here until morning. If we can delay them long enough, they may return to Sina only to find that their transports have all sailed away. When the army has advanced to your new position, deliver your report." "Yes, Admiral," the scout replied. Turning his horse, he was soon fast away. Gravina studied the terrain. It was a beautiful island. A towering volcano dominated the skyline to the northeast. At its feet, the Sina road wound lazily along the most accommodating terrain through the mountains. Mostly rocky, and at other times sandy. It was well bridged over crossing streams, and now, as his army neared the lower slopes of the volcano, a great river flowed southward to the sea along the eastern edge of the road. A broad green salt marsh skirted the river on both sides, but was especially expansive along the far eastern bank. Beyond it, the terrain was sparse, but a healthy forest climbed nearly halfway to the peak of the smoking volcano. To the west, the mountainous interior of Sissily wound densely toward the heart of the island and northward. Sparse grasses and the occasional fig and olive trees spotted their slopes, but the enemy remained well hidden despite the lack of cover, no doubt planning another ambush ahead. And we'll stop there at the top of page 181 as we've run out of time. And next time will be episode 23. Hope you enjoyed it. Have a great night.